Listen up here. The restaurant industry is grueling and unpredictable, just like this show, from the front of the house to the back of the house and all in between. We will turn up the heat, you turn up the volume. I'm Chef Antonio Caruana. Welcome to the Tell All Podcast, the Burnt Hands Perspective.
This podcast contains explicit and potentially offensive material. You've been warned. Now buckle up, bitches. Let's go.
Here we are. We're back.
We're back.
We're back,
All right.
baby.
This is going to be fun because this entire show was dedicated around the state of the industry and the pussification of the restaurant industry.
Pussification.
So that is the word, and the way that things have changed. So I think the best way to get into the state of the industry, almost like, a presidential response, like the State of the Union.
Correct.
State of the industry.
Yes.
So you have to start. So we're going to drink.
Hold on a minute. State of the industry. Where do we begin with this? And who the fuck am I to tell anybody what the state of the industry is, right?
Yeah.
It's a huge industry. So there's millions of fucking people out here going to restaurants. There's millions of people who work in restaurants. It's probably the food service industry is what? The best? I mean, the most employed position throughout America?
Yeah, it's pretty
Some
fast.
level or another, whether it's, we're drinking a Valpolicella, by the way, a Ripasso.
What is this?
It's a Valpolicella Ripasso. It's delicious.
Okay.
Very good.
So,
Just enjoy
cheers.
it. Yeah. How you sing it? Sing that song?
What?
Yeah.
Throw that wine in a surf. Y'all will catch on at some point. So, state of the industry, because you and I came up in this business
Fuck.
for, you said 30 years. This is really good. And the conversation gets better with, just as wine gets better with age, so do we. Good.
God damn it, man.
Okay, it's good.
Well,
all right.
That's good.
You just had a moment. It was a
Every
whole
time.
moment.
It's like if you have what it takes, if you have what it takes
You have what
to
it takes.
drink the nectar of the gods,
Yeah, you can do
you
this.
know what I'm talking about. Oh my
Yeah.
God, it's so good. Woo! Hey. All right.
All
Let's
right.
go back to
So evolution.
I'm back. Look how
Evolution.
serious I am.
State of the industry. So I think that a lot of people, especially as we say, you're old school or you're even older school, whatever it may be, there's evolution in the industry. And we came up at a time when it was pretty hard. Now it seems like it's with Instagram, social media, it's kind of glorified certain things. So let's go over kind of the state of the industry in general. So you think that there is a turn in this country where it's kind of taking away from the allure,
Without a question.
Yeah.
Without question. So it has its goods and bads. It's got its ups and downs.
Yeah.
The state of the industry is just that. It's the state of it all. I mean, there's so many things that we can touch on this too. Generally, though, the state of the injury is injury. It is injury.
It is
goddamn it.
injury.
I'm actually rubbing my hands,
Yeah,
feeling
you
the
got
injuries. It's coming
jacked
out.
up.
So the state of the industry is to me, I call it a pussification. It's a word I came up with because it's the pussification of the whole fucking industry. This used to be, and not because it was chosen to be, it was just the way it is. It was a hard-nosed job to be successful in the restaurant industry. It still is. However, it's harder now because now we have to actually worry about people's feelings and worry about somebody not being able to come to work for whatever reasons they have these days. We have to worry about the line and influx of people coming to work at a restaurant isn't as great as it used to be.
Yeah.
So the pool of employees is much smaller.
Yeah.
So we have to tolerate a lot more. And I'm not going to say this is a millennial thing or anything like that. It has nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
I believe it has to do with how we're growing as a society, right? So, back in the days, we're going to go
love
there.
that term. Back in the day.
Back in the day, we're going to go back in the day. Yes, alcoholism, drugs, you didn't have to be an alcoholic to have alcoholic introduced to your work life.
Yeah.
It was all about drinking. It was all about drugs. It was all about partying. What has been lost mostly is the sex, drugs, and rock and roll has been removed from the chef life. Now, the same people who were giving awards to these guys and us back in the day are now completely against it, giving awards for people who grow their own turnip green in a flower pot outside, and their chef knife handle was wrapped in non-elephant tusk, faux vegan fucking wood, whatever it may be, right? So these are the things that are very hard. Who can come up with the most, for instance, crossing genres in a restaurant? A good restaurant gets ridiculed if they don't have a good vegan menu.
Yeah.
But I'm not a vegan, and I'm not a vegan chef. I'm not a vegan restaurant.
No.
There are restaurants for that. No disrespect to them.
Yeah.
But I get ridiculed for not having it, right? So now I have to at some point either submit and get them something, or I don't and become the asshole who doesn't conform. You know what I mean? So back in the day, we just said, fuck off. You know what I'm saying? Now if we say fuck off,
you could be
better
canceled.
be ready to
like,
back it up.
Cancel culture is real. And in the restaurant
Real.
business, I mean, you've seen with chefs, I mean, that have come out. And we said there's a lot of tomfuckery that goes on in the restaurants.
Sure.
Like there's a lot of sexual innuendos. There's inappropriate conversation.
Who's
and,
fucking who?
Like, yeah, that's pretty, and that will be its own episode. But
And it will.
you know, if you're coming into it and you're not thick-skinned, like I think it's not the industry for you anyways. But you've seen that. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, the shift in trying to be quote-unquote woke in the sense that we're catering to a very small percentage of people who want organic or oat-driven everything. And everybody seems like they feel like they have to conform to this new standard. But there are the diehard chefs and the people who really put in the time that refuse. And I think that's the cool part about it, as you see this kind of pushback on both sides. I mean, there's always going to be a right and a left. Like there's, you know, there always is.
A lot of it comes to the pussification also comes down to all kinds of ways, all the way down to the industry's, the suppliers.
Yeah.
Right? So let's talk about the gluten-free thing.
Yeah.
Right? This is a craze in an Italian world that is just, it's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing because there are people out there who have problems with stuff, right?
Actual.
Celiac disease, things like that we really, really cater to.
Yeah.
Because I want those people to be able to come here and enjoy their life just like everyone else here.
Yeah.
Now, the other people that come in because they don't want to fart on their first fucking date and don't want to eat flour, right? I don't want to hear that shit. Who gives a fuck, man? You don't want to have a fucking tummy ache, so you got to eat no gluten. Well, eating no gluten, it's hard for us to decide who has a real problem
Yeah.
and who doesn't want to fart tonight. You see what I'm saying? So I don't give a fuck about that. So we have to sterilize everything. We have to cook in water that's not
Different. Yeah.
introduced to flour. We have to change all of our utensils. We have to change our pans. We have to make sure it doesn't touch anything because we don't know what is real, what is not.
Yeah.
So, recommendation for you listeners out there. If you're going to a restaurant and you have celiac disease, fucking say that.
Yeah. Don't
Say
say
that.
it's a gluten intolerance.
Don't say it's intolerance because I'm intolerant to that. You know what I'm saying? It's
You have a gluten intolerance
People don't-
to the intolerance.
people don't realize that half the problem is you're eating gluten. And yes, there's another thing about how the industry has changed.
Yeah.
Right? In time, they're not wrong. You're buying shit food from
Yeah.
shit places,
Yeah.
and you're blaming me. Okay? My semolina flour that we make our flour with, it's all from Europe on the European standard. I guarantee you, if you have a gluten intolerance, you will not have one here.
Yeah.
Because we're not using that bullshit GM-hoed fucking out stuff that this country allows, unfortunately.
Yeah,
it
it
does.
is.
You know, when they're growing wheat in fucking a week and a half. You know what I'm saying? And how are they doing that? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? How are they getting a cow plump or to slaughter
Yeah.
in 3 months?
Yeah.
This isn't GMO. You know,
Yeah.
stop eating that garbage
Yeah.
and trust some people sometimes. But what really sucks about it is the way that we're producing things. Also, the pussification comes from somewhat the people as well.
Yeah.
The people that are coming through now aren't like they used to be.
Mhm.
They're not. They're not rock. They're not grit. They're not where they used to
No.
be. They've been introduced to this whole world on TV.
Yeah.
Okay, we had one thing to do when I was coming up in this world. The only way you got experience is going out and getting experience. The only way you got recipes right is if you learn how to do them.
Yeah.
Methods, technique. You had to go from one chef to the next, from one place to the other. If you wanted to learn about French, you had to go to a French fucking chef and restaurant and work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now, these guys get on YouTube or whatever. They'll look up a quick recipe. They'll fucking make a YouTube video cooking it and consider themselves a chef, and they don't need to work in a restaurant. You ain't a chef, homie. You know what I'm saying? That's the problem. So we have a lot of people who are just getting taught from the beginning, I don't need to listen to this. They're never on time.
Yeah.
It's very hard for them to have the same passion in cooking as they did back in the day.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it was only about the food. The food. How can we produce the food? How can it come out so goddamn good? How can we do it better than yesterday?
Yeah.
Now it's about the paycheck. The first question everybody asks is, what's the pay? How many days do I get off?
Yeah.
What's the work time? Is there room for advancement? When do I get a raise? That's all they care about. And the only question I have is, do you know how to fucking cook? Have you ever cooked before? And with who?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you come from an area like this area has been for a while, there was only a small handful of real brigade-style chefs in this area. Very small.
Yeah.
So this area, for a long
Speaking
time,
in Hampton Roads, Virginia.
Hampton Roads, Virginia, right? And this goes for all kinds of different regions. But I'm telling you, I mean, there's a lot of places out there that don't have that system, but they have individually good places. So as a whole, we don't have the accountability or answering to a chef brigade system. So there's a lot of investors, right? There's a lot of restaurateurs who open up a restaurant because they own a fucking construction company and they think it's going to be cool to have their fucking car parked out in front of their restaurant.
Show their friends or take their mistress, whatever.
So they hire the chef, they hire the crew, and that is true. That's been the way it's been all the way through, but now it's even more. So they're hiring one person, stealing them from down the street. Somebody might have been sewing sous chef for fucking 8 months. They go now and they're going to be the executive chef over at this restaurant. And that's the problem. There was no training. There was no fucking build-up. There was no life. There was no experiences. There was no crashing. You never crashed and burned. You never rose from any ashes. You never fucking put yourself to the test. What's your palate all about? What do you even have one? Where's your fucking style? You know, are you just going to put that? Are you going to sear that beef and just stick it over barley because that's what they're doing down there? How many times are you going to look on Instagram and stuff and see someone doing a roulade? So now you do a roulade. Where does your palate come from? What are you comparing it to? You know what I'm saying? So now you have these kids that were people, not even kids. I don't want to say kids. You have these people now that come into this industry in a limelight. They're thinking about the glory of it all. They got the fucking nice brown aprons, the leather. They got the
how they can monetize.
Oh, they got the pictures with their plate and their fucking microgreens. Do you even know what the microgreens are? Do you even have a connect on these microgreens, or did you just learn them from the restaurant you were at, and now you go everywhere using that same connect? Have you ever studied what these things do? There's so many things that are just taken for granted, right? The state of the industry right now is pretty much a hand-me-down. You know what I mean? There's no one inventing shit. Everyone's hand-me-down right now. They're taking whatever little experiences they have. They're going to convince somebody. And I'm saying I'm talking about the fucking clowns I'm talking about. I'm not talking about everybody, right? I'm not talking about everybody. And if I'm talking about you and you're being offended by what I'm saying, there's a good hint you don't get what I'm saying, and you're that clown.
You're that person.
If you understand what I'm saying and you're like, fucking, this dude's right on, you are not the clown. You get it, right? So... and don't blame me if you're the clown. Don't be mad at me.
It's not your fault.
It's not my fault. So the whole thing is, look, people don't have the grit because the grit isn't expected anymore. It's not their fault so much that they don't have the grit. It's because it's not expected anymore. When we have Unox ovens that do 50 fucking jobs that it used to take us 50 different methods to do, right? When you're steaming something in the same oven, you're baking something in, and you're fucking flash cooking something in the same thing, you're braising something in, you're hitting your buttons and your little pictures come up. Of course we're going to use them. It's technology. But the problem is people are using them without the actual fucking skill.
Do you think that the art or the heart and soul of a lot of restaurants have like dissipated vastly since this, like technology in general?
Absolutely. It's the heart of the soul of the chef. The palate. It's the heart and soul of the palate. Once food became monopolized and it became monetary, more so than passion driven, right? Once all these big restaurants became chains, drive through any town, USA, their little city, you got the TJ Maxx, you got the Ross, you got the fucking Bennigan's that used to be around, you got Olive Garden, you got Macaroni Grill, you got Texas Roadhouse, you got Outback Steakhouse. This is all accepted. This is what's been accepted. The masses are going here. The masses. They're the same people that are coming to my place saying that they had to wait for 2 hours. They're fucking mad. The steak shouldn't be that expensive because you're used to eating the same steak that Walmart sells you because they're all using the same shit purveyor. They're all coming from the same GM Hode compound. You know what I mean?
And the cost too. So some of the challenges, because we talked about state of the industry and the challenges you face, again, as a higher end chef versus the, run-of-the-mill Instagram flash in the pan type chef. With that, food cost is a huge thing because you're trying to get the best products. People are cutting corners. So do you think that they're they're providing a disservice to people, to really get their expectations lowered? Like, I mean, you want here, you're going to get a different experience, but they're giving them these, it's like almost like people are getting, like, if you sit and shit long enough, you're going to get used to it.
Correct.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's sad.
So what they're doing is basically they're discrediting or diluting the dining experience.
Yeah.
And when they're coming into these places to eat, and you're right. Yeah, absolutely. So on the masses, they're making hand over fist. It's a business.
Yeah.
Food is a business. How can we sell the cheapest fucking garbage as fast as we can and make a profit? Well, we all have that same mindset, except for this isn't garbage.
Yeah.
How can I make profit off of something I absolutely love doing?
Yeah.
There's a huge difference.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? By the time we pay the sauciers, the garde manger, all the fucking prep, the mise en place, by the time we get through all that, and these are the people in those positions holding them, to get the food on the plate to the product, that's the only chance, that one time, to make any money to continue to do what we do.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Some people profit more than others. That becomes in the back of the house stuff. That's all there. But when your only job is to monetize your food so you can profit from it, that's it.
That's it.
You're in trouble.
Yeah.
You're in trouble.
What do you see for trends, like in the restaurants, like the trends that you see, good and bad? Like where things are going?
Dietary restrictions right now is a gruesome trend.
Okay.
It's killing us. It really is. A lot of it has to do, again, with the product that's being sold to people, putting people in this intolerant state.
Yeah.
So I'm like this on the teeter-totter here, right? Because I disagree with the bullshit that's going on.
Yeah.
But I also disagree that people come in here with all these restrictions. But I also understand why they have these restrictions because of the bullshit that's going on.
Yeah.
But it's almost like, well, I'm not following that because I don't fucking go on that end of the teeter-totter, right? I'm more here with these people. I'm supportive of these people with these restrictions. However, it does put a whole new spin on how we have to produce. And it's the fault of the industry for allowing it, right? So I can't blame every person that comes through the door saying, hey, my stomach hurts when I eat gluten.
Yeah.
I hate hearing it because it pisses me off that I get it. I know why.
Yeah.
You're right. If you eat the bullshit that's going on out there, I can
every
understand it. It's probably not so much the gluten. It's everything they did to create that fake shit.
Yeah.
And that's what's hurting you. Yeah. But when you come here, this is a place you should come, a safe haven. Try eating it here. You'll go home happy. Promise.
I think anybody who's traveled, and I mean, you travel a lot, and we, whenever I go overseas, I can eat the bread, the pasta, the pizza, everything, and I never feel like shit.
Right.
And you can eat that you don't get that same feeling, and I don't think, and I mean, most of the listeners of this are going to be in the industry, so they kind of get it, but glyphosates and just the how it interacts with your gut and your system, it builds up over time. So yeah, when you're shoving Pizza Hut pizza in your face every day, you're going to feel like shit after 3-4 days.
Day.
Your body can't process
it. You can't process that garbage. It's chemical. Your body's not ready for it.
No.
Right? So eliminate that, and then we go back to the way it used to be.
Yeah.
But getting back on the track of the industry, state of the industry, the cooking is different. The equipment is different. The attitudes are different. People come in late for work pretty customarily because they know what they're just going to go there and prep, and then we're going to cook. It's routine. It's so routine. This is a routine job. So it's really hard to find those people that are driven by the pure passion of food.
Yeah.
More so than just driven by a paycheck. And again, the industry's affected by what's going on in the culture.
Yeah.
If you can't afford to pay fucking rent, the guys who do have a passion for cooking may not make enough money to pay their rent. So some of the best cooks around right now are selling fucking solar panels or whatever they want to do because they're just trying to make ends meet, not realizing that you're going to make ends meet there too.
Yeah.
You're just going to lose you for a year. And then when you come back, you're going to be grateful. Yeah. But that whole year, we had to be fucking pussified with all these clowns trying, figure it out. It's a tough world.
Yeah.
It's a tough world right now.
Do you think that fine dining, in essence, will make a comeback? Like it's making a comeback? Do you see any kind of change in the waves right now?
I surely do. A lot of people will disagree with me and they'll argue with me.
Yeah.
But I can tell you in my own experience and what I'm doing, people want to be treated right because they've been fucking neglected for so long.
Yeah.
When you walk into these brand new restaurants that get all the hype, what do you see every time? Natural wood, the concrete floor, the fucking painted ductwork, the fake trees hanging, the plants. You understand what I mean? Right?
Like Instagram.
Right. You got the plumbing pipes that are holding up the shelves, and on the shelf is a toaster and an old fucking cheese grater for decor.
Yeah.
All the chalkboard specials. this is what you got for
hipster. We'll call it
We'll
hipster.
call it, I guess you can call
Kind
it
of.
hipster.
Kind of. Yeah.
New wave, whatever you want to
Yeah,
call
I
it.
mean, it is that follows the trend. And
It's the
again,
trend.
we know the market is a very cruel mistress. Like the market will dictate whether you're good or not, and it kind of tells people where to go. But for you guys, like the industry in general, out of all the decades that we've been involved in it, the people who make it are consistent and they provide great service.
Right.
Really, the bottom
And they're
line.
persistent.
Yeah, they just
and-
keep going.
And they keep fucking grinding.
Yeah.
You have to go to work every day. You have to get in the kitchen. You have to get on the floor.
Yeah,
You have to know what's going on in your place. And you really have to know what's going on with your customers in the base.
yeah,
Your customers, not the customers of the restaurant industry. Because if you try and please every one of them, you're going to be lost.
yeah,
You need to focus on what customer and what genre you're bringing in.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
So once in a while, people will stroll in and can't afford what you give, or they can't understand what you give. And you can't bend every time to do that. One thing I don't have on my damn menu, and I get ragged out all the time, is sweet tea. I don't have sweet tea.
yeah,
I'm not having sweet tea. I don't want sweet tea here. Go somewhere else and drink sweet tea everywhere you want. But this is not a place where we're not gonna focus on sweet tea.
yeah.
It's just not my thing.
I agree.
Right? It's not that type of dining. It doesn't match anything we do here, and that's just something we're not going to do.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't stand for something, you fall for everything.
That's right.
I mean, you have to stand up for some things of the basis. And if you don't know your core, your mission, your values for your restaurant, yeah, you are susceptible to someone coming in and just trying to please everybody. But I think that like scarcity mindset kills so many restaurants because they're trying to like spread themselves so thin that they just don't have.
They lose themselves.
Yeah,
they
there's
lose
nothing
themselves
unique about
trying
you.
to conform.
Yeah,
They lose themselves trying to please everybody.
Yeah.
They lose themselves as owners and chefs by trying to give into your staff so much that they're actually running you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? This is a common thing that happens because you also understand from I'm empathetic when it comes to my staff. I really care about them. They are my team. Without them, I don't have shit.
yeah.
Right?
You keep
But on the other hand, it's not 100% the only thing. They also understand and have to understand that without you, me, they don't also have the situation they have.
Yeah,
You can always go find another job. Yeah, I know it. And I can always hire somebody else.
yeah,
Yeah, I know it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want that, though. I like to keep my team. My team on both restaurants is phenomenal.
yeah,
And we like to keep them. Luckily, I was able to filter through as the years gone on, and we keep a good, solid team. I have people that are working for me in my original restaurant, Luce Norfolk. They've been there the whole time running this while I've been here.
yeah. How
They're
many
doing
years?
a phenomenal job. They're strong. They're solid. They have passion, right?
Yeah,
So we've whittled down to that small group who are capable to do more than most restaurants with a much bigger group of clowns where only 2 or 3 of them give a fuck.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And they only give a fuck about their own situation 9 times out of 10.
true.
So-
It's like you have the movie 300.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
hold
We're
it
up
down.
against it. We're up against it.
We're right here. We're gonna hold it
Yeah.
down against this mass wall.
It's a shadow of arrows coming down.
We're
I
in,
mean,
we're in the
fucking
dark.
pasta, pieces
I
of
love
fried
being-
pasta just coming down. So it's something like that, you know. So the state of the industry right now, to me, yes, fine dining is on the way back. People deserve it.
Yeah,
Okay, going back to that whole business model or restaurant model that was popular in the mid 2000s, going into the later 2000s.
yeah,
That whole wooden open space, fucking blah blah blah. Rolled up silverware in the biodegradable fucking plastic or paper,
Yeah.
paper straws, all that whole era.
yeah,
Okay, people deserve better than that. You know what I mean? People deserve it, and they want better than that. A lot of people are doing that because that's the only thing they knew. Because in that time frame is when they became a chef. They've never had worked, no matter what the fuck they say.
Yeah.
They've never worked in a fine dining restaurant. They've never worked in a fucking brigade system in a kitchen.
yeah,
They were one of 3 or 4 people who had a really good small fucking 20, 30 seat restaurant. They got the praises they well deserved.
yeah,
And then they moved on trying to act like they knew better, and they don't. And and those are the people who aren't making it
yeah,
because they've only were around for 1/2 of a decade, and that's when they got busy. That's when they got popular. That's when they did it. They've never worked up the system.
yeah,
You see what I'm saying? So now the people, when they come here, they just praise what's going on. The 3-piece jazz band, the white tablecloths, the wine service,
Yeah.
the steps of service. All these things are part of the show of dining, and they are coming back.
It is.
People who shut down in the late 2000s, mid 2000s, saying fine dining is dead, I'm screwed. They jump too quick. I feel they jump too quick.
Yeah.
And they didn't wait out the storm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And here I am not recreating. I'm just bringing something back. I didn't create any of this.
Yeah.
I'm just bringing back what it is that intrigued me about cooking from the first place. And I don't think a lot of the fucking industry had that intrigue.
No.
I don't know if they were old enough to experience what it was. This was common. This setup,
fine
this was
dining.
common. This, when you went to a family restaurant back in the day, this was common, not the other shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not the trendy, hipstery thing. That concrete bar tops.
Yeah.
That had its place.
Yeah.
And I still have one.
You still have one.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, but
Evolution.
evolution.
That's all it's
Evolution.
happening. Yeah.
And fine dining is definitely on the way back. It definitely is. And
Yeah.
people should understand that because it's now a new form of entertainment.
Mhm.
It's you know what I mean? We're beating out the rug and we're getting out the dirt. And that's the way it is.
Back. Or we're putting everything back
Putting
the
it
way
back.
it should be.
Yeah, putting it back.
Which is, bringing back the glamour.
Yes.
You know, I mean,
Glitz.
restaurant business is sexy. Like, in essence, people love the intrigue of the restaurant business because of the drug, sex, and rock and roll. But also, it is a sexy business. It's
Sexy
fun.
business, yeah.
It's, you get to dress up.
Dress
feel
up.
good about
Where are you
yourself.
wearing your Gucci shoes?
Yeah.
And where are you wearing
Yeah.
all the stuff, man?
Yeah.
All the stuff we love to do.
To do.
You know, the
Yeah.
Prada, all these name brands that we love doing.
Yep.
Women look sexy, men look fucking great.
Yeah.
And you want to take your person out, but there's nowhere to go and dress up to go.
Yeah.
That's not true now. When people come to my place, that's exactly what
They want to dress
I want
up.
people to feel like they can dress up and go out to a date.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit if we move the table and people started dancing like they used to. You know what I'm saying? That's happened once or twice,
It's happened.
but not like it used to.
Yeah.
Right? It used to be they'd clear the floor, and all of
Yeah,
a sudden
fun.
you didn't even realize that your place just became a dance, not a nightclub,
Yep.
but people are dancing to the jazz music, having a great time,
Yep.
watching people interact, and walk out of here all lit with purple fucking wine teeth
Yep.
and all that shit, and then you know they're getting ready to go fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
hey,
you know they're getting ready to go fuck.
If that is the indicator, you come
it
here, we're
is the
trying to get
indicator.
you laid. Is that
Yeah,
the
you're
that's
either
the
getting
secret?
laid or divorced, bitch, when you come in here. You know, something's happening. But goddamn it, you ain't just sitting around twiddling your thumbs waiting for your fucking little bowl of fucking quinoa.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And oats.
With your basted kale fucking breast. What the fuck that is? I don't know. You know what I mean?
Kale is not good. There's a lot. Okay, so in closing, and then we're going to read another mean review because in essence of this show, we got to close with one mean statement about somebody to educate them. So in closing for the state of the industry, like your dreams as a chef, where do you want to see it in the next 3 to 5 years?
I would love to see the fine dining without a doubt come back.
Yeah.
I would love to see chefs working together again.
Yeah.
I would love to see the collaborations. I would love to see the wine dinner collabs. I would love to see the people who follow the chefs like they used to.
Yeah.
People who are the write-ups, the articles, all the magazine spreads, all the things that we used to look at and be like, fuck. Before Instagram, you were on a magazine, you were the fucking shit. You made it.
Yeah.
You know, now, if you're on a magazine, I almost think you made it more because of Instagram and everything else. It's so free. You're so free.
Yeah.
So that is still coming back. If you notice, magazines are coming back. Things are coming out. Readable things are coming back. I was on a Delta flight the other night. They actually had a Delta book back in there.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean?
Seen that forever.
Yeah, right. So all these things are coming back. I would love to see the fine ingredients and the chefs who have a palate to be able to put them together, respect traditions, and create things that just drive them over the edge, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to be a Michelin star chef to get that type of atmosphere. You don't have to be a James Beard winner. Those are the ultimate goals of people. But what they're not realizing is that the road to that is fucking extensive and expensive. It's hard. You don't just go, people say, oh, he's a Michelin chef. He thinks he's everything.
No.
He is.
Well, he is now. He
Well,
deserves
she
it.
is.
Yeah.
Right? She is.
Yeah.
Everything. She's got a Michelin star. You know how hard it is to get that fucking star.
Yeah.
You know how consistent you have to be.
Yep.
And that's what they're judging on is your fucking precision.
Yeah.
And if you don't have it as a team, don't make fun of them because you don't have it, motherfucker. You know damn well you're going home and thinking about you up on that stage. Dun, 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 dun. Who the fuck does it? If you're not thinking that, you're in the wrong game, man.
True.
You know
Very
what I mean?
true. All right. So you ready?
Yeah, let's read.
All right.
Let's read. What we got? Oh, Don Giovanni. Oh, I'm my
Name
own.
would be appropriate since you
Yeah.
already tried. Like,
Is that Don Giovanni? Is that his name, Don, or is he like a fucking Don? Am I going to get whacked on this one?
I know, yeah.
Sony, am I going to get whacked reading this one? It says Don Giovanni. Is he a Don?
A Don or a Don? We don't know.
Is
We're
it
gonna
Don?
find
This is
out.
Don Giovanni. Don Giovanni.
If you don't see any more episodes,
Don Giovanni.
okay,
Fuck, this could be it right here. I'm going to
Okay.
do this one right.
just yeah.
Don't be shocked by but the food is not really Italian. Do I have to continue?
Yes, you have to read the whole thing.
They have a cheese with the seafood pasta, which is a big no-no for Italians. No, we don't. Their pinza is basically a flatbread and not real pinza. No, it ain't. The ragu is basically a chili.
Huh.
The only good thing is their wine list. Bethany. Hey,
Shout out.
hooty-hoo.
Shout out.
Shout out. If you want to go for the atmosphere and the wine, that is fine. But you should never pretend to be a real Italian restaurant. Don Giovanni, I invite you to fuck yourself. Okay? That's what I do. You are the fucking problem. Okay? First of all, there's no seafood dish with cream in it. We have one little fucking dish with a lemon crema, which is Italian. So go fuck yourself. You don't know what you're talking about. All right, listen. I'm gonna be straight up on this one.
Yes.
Every ounce of ingredient we have is literally deliberately fucking brought to us from Italy.
Yeah.
Each region has its regional reasoning for being here.
And they're very different.
They're
Like,
very
I don't think
different.
people
So-
realize Italy
right.
is so different.
It's so
everywhere you
different.
go.
So as the kingdoms became a country, as the country became unified, it's still based off the old traditional things. And a lot of the fucking regions there are based off the old ways of their kingdom, which they would not leave. And the reason why Italy has so much deviation between each region, they have their own things, is because for many years they would never leave their region. So it was, for decades and centuries, it was only what they ate in that area. Not until now and lately is there a multi-regional infusion, is what kind of I do. I'm a multi-regional infusion. I'm a modern Italian chef. Every fucking thing I do is Italian-minded. Everything.
Yeah.
Everything. So every ingredient we have, if we don't make it ourselves, okay, ragu is a chili. No, that's not the case. The problem is you're not used to a ragu. You're used to a bolognese sauce, as they call it, of a wrapped around fucking tortellini that's all runny and juicy, and you put your cheese on it and you eat it and you say, Don Giovanni, Maron, this is like my mother. It took 4 fucking days to cook it. That's what you're used to, all right? A ragu is exactly a ragu. It is a fucking slow braised beef or whatever protein you're using into a breakdown with your tomatoes and stuff, and you toss that so it has a thick, rich consistency of that type of product.
Yeah.
So if you're doing a lamb ragu, you're going to feel the lamb shredded. You're going to taste the braised chuck roast that's going to be in your ragu. That's the pieces of the meat. So it's going to be thicker and not watery. If you want a bolognese sauce, they're going to use a ground meat, right? The ground meat is going to be a lot more loose. It's a lot more easy to eat. Two different things. Bologna, Italy has the bolognese. Ragu is in other areas. Napolitano, all that stuff is where you have that type of meat.
Yeah.
So my friend Giovanni, what you ate was a traditional style of a ragu
Yeah.
that I've learned to do many years over in Italy, in these regions, and I do it proper, and it's not my fucking right to claim it. I'm only doing what is proper. I'm doing what I was taught. I'm doing what regionally exists in Italy today, and I do it with my own spin, but I also do it following all the traditional ways that were taught to me with the respect to the regions they come from. So, Dawn, you need to fucking educate yourself on what it is you're eating. This review is a -0 fucking star. The wine list is phenomenal. Bethany Morris, our wine sommelier, one of the best in the area. We go over everything specifically just as we do our food. Our wine is paired with our foods. It is certified to be the best it can be.
Yes.
So if you like the wine and not the food, you just don't understand the food you're eating, because they're both meant hand in hand.
Yes.
Bethany and I worked fucking relentlessly on that. Okay? Anyway,
So to that,
you had me going on that one,
I
Casey.
know.
You got me
I
upset with this
it.
one. Don
Take
Giovanni.
a sip.
Yeah.
Salud.
Salute. Ciao for now. Fuck you, Don.